Hey, Nikki Brown here. So I just want to say something that I hope is helpful. We all have free will, and sometimes that's not what. Sometimes we do things that we're not divinely guided to do because we want to fit in, we want to be a part of the group, or a part of the family, and we don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable, or we don't want to be isolated. We don't want people to talk about us, um, or make us feel ashamed or guilty because we're going or moving in a different direction. But a lot of times we're meant to move in a direction that we're divinely being guided towards. And when we resist that, sometimes we have to deal with the cause and effect of that, right? The law of attraction, there are certain universal laws, and one of those laws is the law of cause and effect. That can show up as some type of abuse, whether it's verbal, mental, emotional, physical, financial abuse. It could show up as someone being unalived, someone that we felt like we were, supposed to be with. But sometimes we weren't supposed to be with that person. We just wanted it. Because again, we have free will. And so we made the choice. But the Most High is like, no, that wasn't the person that I had for you. And you didn't listen to me. And so sometimes that person, place, or thing is taken away from us. It could be a job. And I don't say this to sound mean, and I know this can be very hard to hear. And sometimes we have to have those hard conversations because we have to put things into perspective and understand the reality of what is going on. Nothing is happening to you, everything is happening for you. Let me say that again. Nothing happened to you. It happened for you. It happened for your protection, right? Again, even as hard as that may be here, you may have been on that job for 20 years, 29 years even ready to retire, ready to get that pension, and all of a sudden something happened and it was taken away from you because it was never meant for you to be there. You decided to be there for 20 years. But you were told initially, this is not for you, do something else, go somewhere else. Well, sometimes it is meant for us to stay there that 20 years because we have to get that karma. There's something that we needed to learn from that situation, right? What did you need to learn? Right? I have this t shirt on that says, remember who you are. Who are you? Why are you here? What is your purpose on earth? Your purpose on earth, 9 times out of 10, is not to do what you've been doing, right? We're here to help one another. So, how can you help other people? You have to ask yourself. There are millionaires, right? Some of them are in the entertainment industry, but the entertainment that they're providing is not serving or helping anyone. So, they don't feel good about it on the inside. And so sometimes they take themselves out. And those who don't have those millions or billions wonder, why would that person want to do that? They seemingly have everything. But those thoughts in their mind, or sometimes those thoughts are being projected onto them by other people. Jealousy, envy, hate. All a person has to do is think that they want you to fail. All a person has to do is think that they don't want the best for you. All the person has to do is think that they're not happy for you. That's a dark magic. They don't have to write it down, put your name under a shoe, put it in the ice and freezer and all that. They don't have to do those things. They just think it or say it out of their mouth because our words are powerful. And sometimes we hold ourselves back. But a lot of times it's because of the ways, thoughts, and actions of others that have been projected onto us. And then they show up as self limiting beliefs. We have to trust, know, and understand who we are and what we are capable of. And we have to stop using words like try. Money doesn't grow on trees. I can't, right? Say I'm doing my best. Instead of saying I don't have it, as soon as I'm able to, I will make sure that I do that thing or buy that thing or have that thing. You have to get into your unconscious and subconscious mind and get out of that survival mode and that instinctual caveman way of thinking. What do I mean by that? Staying safe, staying basic when you know you're meant to rise and elevate to your highest level of consciousness, which is not small, which is not safe. That doesn't mean that you have to think of yourself as better than somebody or having more than somebody. That's not it. That's not what it's about. Right? But we must stop gossiping. We must be honest with ourselves. We must keep our space clean because cleanliness is going to open up that pathway for the good things that are supposed to come in. Right? We have to do our best to stay away from and distance ourselves from those people, places, or things that are of an unrighteous nature. So, unfortunately, that may be a relative that you really love and care about and you love to hang out with, but all they do is gossip and complain and talk negative, and they're pessimistic about everything. They complain about everything. They may have everything in the world, seemingly. They have the house, they have the car, they have the relationship, but they'll find any and everything to complain about. And so that makes you take on those thoughts. Again, those thoughts, those ways, thoughts, and actions are being projected onto you because of someone else's fears, someone else's insecurities, someone else's jealousy and envy. It's not about what you have, it's about who you are. And you may walk with a confidence that they don't have. So they try to take it away from you by belittling you and make you afraid, right? People who watch the news all the time are very good at that, even if they're not doing it intentionally. They'll say, oh, you shouldn't travel because it's not safe. Oh, you shouldn't go to that place because it's not safe. Oh, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that because someone else has put that in their mind. And they're just repeating what they've heard. They're not thinking for themselves. They're not manifesting. They're not healing. They're just repeating the same generational curses, the same cycle over and over again because 9 times out of 10, that came from their parents and their parents before them. It could have come from a school teacher. It could come from a friend. It could come from a spouse. Because when people have been together for such a long period of time, they start to take on each other's attributes and traits, right? If it was a relationship that you weren't supposed to be in and that person was taken away from you for whatever reason, that means it was meant for you to find somebody who's going to make you feel safe, who's going to make you feel protected, who's going to give as much as they take. Because every relationship should have reciprocity. That is equal give and take. You should not feel like you have to give up who you are to be with this person. This person should help you to grow, to step into your purpose, your divine purpose, and not make you feel small or belittled because they don't want to step into their purpose and their greatness because they choose to stay small. They choose to stay in that comfort zone Welcome to the comfort zone. A lot of the songs that we listen to and we repeat, we don't realize those get trapped in your mind, right? Where you need to be loved. In the meantime, that is the absolute wrong person for you. And then when someone like me comes and they share that with you, because I'm actually very intuitive and have been for years, but I was afraid to tell people that, right? So I would share things with people and they just felt like I was hating on them or I didn't want the best for them when I was actually telling them that, yeah, that's not your person. And so then they have to suffer the karma of that one way or the other. Because again, the universal laws of cause and effect. And again, this is not to hurt anybody's feelings. This is not to make people feel bad. That is not the intention. The intention is to help you know and understand that you have a greater purpose. And your greater purpose may be for you to be single for a while. Your greater purpose may be to meet that right person that's going to elevate you and help you to be your best self, elevate you that higher level of consciousness, right? Some of us have healing hands. What is it that you were meant to do? What is it that you wanted to do as a child? What is it that you wanted to do before anything bad ever happened to you? But again, there's nothing bad. There's duality, negative and positive. What we perceive as bad, a lot of times, again, it's protection because that thing was never meant for you in the first place. So, what did you learn? What are you being protected from? I often go back to when I was 4 years old, and I remember people standing around to listen to me sing. And the first thing that popped into my mind is, huh, this is how you get people's attention. This is how I can teach people not to hurt kids. That was what my simple mind thought at that time. But I realize now that my mind was never simple. I just didn't understand how to use my gifts because I was never taught. I was never guided in the right direction. I was discouraged from doing that. When I said that, when I would astral travel as a child, because no one could explain to me what was going on, I stopped doing it because I was afraid, because I didn't know what was going on. Being outside of your body and looking at yourself, that's scary when you don't know what's going on. And when you don't have those type of parents that are going to explain it to you, you shy away from it. And it shapes you to become someone you were never meant to be. You were I was meant to stay on that path, and some of you were meant to stay on that path as well. But again, you didn't have the proper guidance. So get out of your comfort zone. We're not meant to be in a comfort zone in that way. We're meant to do the uncomfortable things. We're meant to do the scary things. We're meant to do the things that make us afraid because that's going to shape us and mold us into who we're really supposed to be. So I challenge you, step out of the comfort zone, get out of the box. Stop repeating the behaviors that you see everybody else doing just to feel safe and not feel like you're being weird or you're the black sheep. You're not meant to stay in that box. That box is too small for your spirit, for your soul. Get out of the box and become who you're really meant to be. As always, I love, love, love y'all.